if you research and then you write something, stop going on and on with the history part. And I'd say, no, no. And do you know where the guns came from?
And you're not sleeping, you don't really have time to be learning your lines at that point.
Hi Swati ma'am, hi Devika, welcome to Box Office India.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, and first of all, congratulations for the Warrior Queen of Jhansi. The trailer is really beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Swati ma'am, since this is your first film as a director, so how did it come together and why this particular film?
It is my first directorial film debut, but I keep on harping on it that all your life you become a director if you're a woman who is performing on stage, you are directing your musicians, you are the choreographer, you're the jhaduvali, you're the lighting, you're the sound. That is part of your training as an Indian classical dancer. You do your fundraising, you do your writing, you do everything. So I've done that for so many years, and then going into that with dance, dramas, doing things in New York, whether it was Transpose Heads choreography on Broadway. You know, it has been a journey, evolution through theatre, through music, through dance drama, choreographing a jazz and Carnatic music concert in Westport Festival. All of that together, I never thought of them as different compartments.
Right.
So for me, dance, drama, film, it all seems like an offshoot of it. So directing for me was very clear. You know, if you research and then you write something, and then obviously you're the one, if you are captaining it, to know what you're doing and what your vision is. I had clarity, I wasn't ever confused.
Right.
So I think for me this was very clear cut and simple, in fact a little too simple, because I'm never in doubt of vacillating, should I do this, should I do that. So I was very clear. I knew which actors I wanted, I knew which actor I wanted for the lead, I knew which story I wanted to tell, and it's not even it's the drishtikon, what angle did I want of the story. The story, of course, of the Warrior Queen or the Rani of Jhansi, it is universal, but some can say it's just a story of her and her alone. And for us, when we were co-writing the script, it was a story of not just the Rani. What are the social economic factors that made her? What was the political situation?
Right.
What was life in 1857? Let's not judge it against today. What is it that she stood up against? And I would often tell Devika, I said, you know, Wonder Woman has come out here, but we've got our own Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I don't know, I used to always tell her I always say, your America, my India, because I was born and brought up here. She's born and brought up there, and you know, has connections with her Indian heritage. But for me, I always say that the Rani of Jhansi fascinated me because she always was what all women should aspire to be, you know, and that is why I wanted to make a film about her, to share her with the world. A global story about, she happens to be Indian, but she is every woman's fear, every woman who has all these problems in life, issues. They can use her as a guide how to overcome them, because she was not born with a silver spoon.
Correct.
You can't make any excuses that, oh, she had it easy, she had a husband, she had a son, a brother, this or that. She was what I believe when I was writing the word, she is an idea. She is not just a woman. She is beyond that. She is so large that she cannot be encompassed in one little thing, that she was a mother, daughter, sister, friend. All women are that. She was beyond. She took herself beyond it. So that's why I made the film.
Correct. Devika, how did it happen to you?
Well, obviously my mother and I worked on early stages of the project together. She always, you know, due to my ability to horseback ride and sword fight and martial arts that I had been learning, I have to speak 3 languages in the film, so my knowledge of those 3 languages, as well as, you know, just working on this a lot together, I think I always was going to play the lead.
Yeah. So was it really difficult, because you are using 3 languages? and you have to adapt to a person who was already there.
Right.
And yeah, and we all know, as Indians, we all know about her story. It is told so many times.
Yes.
I'll correct you there. Indians do know her story, but I did a little bit of research. I used to ask all people in North India, I'm from Delhi,
Yeah.
tell me where was she born? And they used to say, Jhansi. I said, did you know she's a Maharashtrian? No, she's not a Maharashtrian.
Oh.
So I am sorry to say, most people do know who she is. But beyond saying she's from Jhansi and she's a warrior, they have no idea about the East India Company. They call it British. They don't know she spoke Marathi. They don't know she ever wore a 9-yard sari. So there's a lot of things we're losing.
Yeah.
200 years later, I just wanted every aspect of her brought in. And Devika has grown up in a Maharashtrian household. My mother lives with me. She talks to her in Marathi. So she has a complete understanding of the language. She can read Marathi. She may not be fluent at speaking Marathi, but there's no Marathi she doesn't understand. And in that, when we were talking and we discussed, she'd sometimes say, you know, Aji, what do you think of this period, or how has it come? I think that's where, you know, the woman force came in, that yes, she's worked with me on it, but I haven't said that yes, my mother also helped with a lot of the dialogues, because she's a Maharashtrian, as did the very eminent cricketer Madhav Apte, who unfortunately is no more with us and just recently passed away. But what brilliant Marathi from the Peshwa period that he guided us and wrote out those dialogues. I mean, they're just stupendous. So we've taken a lot of authentic kind of help from octogenarians and, you know, those who have access to that knowledge, and wanted to, you know, bring that forth. And Devika's able to be a complete American youngster. I told her, I don't want this film just for India. How can you help make it go global?
Yeah.
Explain that. And that's where her input is really important, because she is a Hollywood actress who is American, and I actually needed her to take it over that hump.
Correct. So what were the challenges?
There were a number of challenges. The languages, I think, were the hardest challenge, just because I had to switch between all the three of them. And so depending on the scene, I really had to be prepared as to which language I was speaking and how I was going to be doing that. I think luckily I had a lot of time to do that. You know, we have been working on this for years prior, and we were going to shoot it, and then different things happened, and so I had a lot of times to go back to the text. Pre-production, the time it needed to take, you know, it takes time to gather that team as well. And so because of that, I really had enough time. And for something like this, you really need to be thinking about it every day for months or years even, to get that into your bones. Because when you're on set, you are working 18 hours a day, you're in every single scene, you're not sleeping, you don't really have time to be learning your lines at that point. So the prep was very important for this, and so that is what took a lot of time.
And the horses that you were riding, they were Marwadi horses here, but in Morocco you were riding in open spaces.
Right, and for me the horseback riding was the most fun part of it, because I love animals, I love horses, I love riding. And I just got to practice doing all kinds of things. I ended up having to do jumps, obviously, which is really fun. And I had to learn how to horseback ride without the reins, right? Because I'm holding two swords with my reins in my teeth, or I'm shooting a bow and arrow, which also requires you not to be holding the reins, right? So that's something you can't learn overnight, obviously. And it really just taught me the importance of time and patience as well in learning this, because when we started on this, it was a massive hill to climb, and I really thought, you know, how can I portray this magnificent, glorious queen and ground her in reality at the same time, but then also learn all of these skills and yet bring the truth of the character to her, because in stories now we hear of her, the great Rani, but at the time she was a real living, breathing human being who was able to achieve and accomplish so much, which is why I think it's such an important story, because every woman can look and say, I am like her, I can be like her. This is not some story that was made up. It's something that really happened, and it's something that lives inside all of us. The
Correct.
ability to just take your life into your own hands and, you know, change the world.
Right.
Not a Marvel comic, right?
Yes.
Yeah, not a Marvel comic. Swati ma'am, when you make a story, when you make a film on a story which is real, a person which is real, how much creative liberty do you take, and how do you balance between fact and fiction?
Not very much.
You know, I also have to be honest with you, I suffer from OCD. I really am not able to take liberties. And in fact, I know everyone kept saying, you know, you don't have to stick to the truth. And I said, I would like to, because my subject all my life has been history. I've done Indian history, British history, both school, college, and later. So that is the only thing that, you know, I've been studying: the Opium War, the Indigo trade, the East India Company, Lord Palmerston, what was the doctrine of lapse, how it came into play. And every time that you read it, I used to really get upset about different aspects. So in fact, what was hard is knowing far too much and how to only put it out into 104 minutes. Because every time I say, oh my God, I don't have her lawyer in it, Lang. And I'd say, now if I get Lang in, then I have to get rid of Ellis. And if I have Ellis and Lang and Palmerston and Sir Hugh Rose, then how do I focus on a 104-minute story?
Yeah.
So the frustration for me is actually never being happy enough and saying, you know, this gives this aspect, but you know, the rest of it. And everyone say, you're not making a documentary. Stop going on and on with the history part. And I'd say, no, no. And do you know where the guns came from? They came from the Parsi community. I haven't put that in. So everyone told me, hold it, you know. You've just got to kind of streamline the story and stay with it. But I wanted to share so much of what an average person doesn't know.
Right.
And I was so excited by aspects of it. Like, now this is the story about the Rani and the East India Company and about trade and the British Raj. But I also wanted to start telling them that why the textiles are so beautiful. So if you'll see in our film, we have the most incredible textiles we've had the good fortune to weave. And we've had all the 9-yard saris woven by Vidhi Singhania for the Rani,
Wow.
which Vidhi and I have designed together, researched it, saying this fabric, you know, we should use with this kind of embroidery, and it took 13 months on each of them.
And then I was horseback riding in those saris.
And we had to keep saying, don't dirty them while you horse ride.
Yeah, and it's like, well, but there are a lot of things that we had to talk about. You know, I remember at one point I had this idea, like, what if the Rani went to Rose and negotiated, like tried to, you know, settle for some kind of peace agreement and have that be a, and she would say, well, that didn't happen. I was like, I know it didn't happen, but it might be, you know, it might be great in the movie for telling that
right.
story.
And I was like, no, 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 no.
But
because
yeah,
I told her, I said,
importance-
we got to stay with this whole thing.
Right.
So my issue was, yes, you need to take liberties. I unfortunately was not able to. I just
Yeah.
had to like keep on saying like this happened, like even, and I'm not going to give away our ending because I've kind of stayed with how it is. But in London, I met so many people and they would say, oh, we've written a book on the Rani, would you like to read it? I'd say, no, no, I want to read nobody's books. I only do my research and I do my writing, because who knows subliminally if I took something that I thought I had read. So I did not till today have not read anybody's books on the Rani of Jhansi except historical research and Marathi literature and vernacular reading, which is like Mazha Pravas, which was written by this young boy Godse when he was 18. And he used to be with the Rani that time, and when Jhansi was burning, he was there. So he's documented it, and I believe now it's just been translated in English by someone from his family called My Journey. And it's very beautifully written, not in high-flown Marathi, but all the imagery that I wanted, what she would wear, how she would be, what a spirited woman she was. And 3-4 years living with her, I actually got quite irritated by the end, saying, God, she's such a paragon of virtue, you know. can I find something in this Rani which is a little weak? And I couldn't. I kept, everyone said, make her more vulnerable. I said, but I can't help it. She was
Yeah,
so
you
strong.
can't.
You know, I mean, she was like this rock of determination. And I said, she was really an amazing woman. So she's an inspiration to me as well.
You have done a lot of research, I'm sure.
I think she demanded it of us. You know, you can't dare to make a film flippantly which is on the Rani of Jhansi. I mean, she was just an incredible character. I mean, a 29-year-old, think of anyone here who's 29 who'd say, why don't I just take my son and live like a queen with some money and settlement? No, no. Instead, let's take on this whole East India Company with a child on my back, go through the battlefield. You've got to be an amazing person with a belief on whatever it is to stand up to justice for her to have done it. And that is what is making everyone admire her. And that globally every woman will say, I don't care she's Indian, brown, white, green, she is a woman and she is each of us. And that is the reason I believed her story would resonate and hope it resonates with everyone, because it has no caste, color, creed. It is a woman's story and an example to everyone that look what a woman can do if she sets her mind to it. Who wanted this for their industrial revolution, they increased the taxes on our exports, but the imports had no taxes. So nobody knows that our textile industry had been destroyed. Hello and namaskar. I'm Swati Bhise, the director of the Warrior Queen of Jhansi.
Hi, my name is Devika Bhise, and you can see us on Box Office India. Please like, share, and subscribe.